In this video we're going to show you how to take apart the air cleaner elbow, the muffler, the carburetor, which is down here, and also the governor linkage assembly. To do that we're going to need a 10mm socket, a 12mm socket, a 3/8 ratchet, and an extension. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the exhaust. I'm going to take my 12mm ratchet, or to my 12mm socket, and my 3/8 ratchet. Be careful not to hit the PTO shaft on this. Once I get those loosened up, I'm just going to finish it off with the socket. Now when you pull this off, there's going to be a graphite gasket in here, or at least there should be. If you don't have one, you need to find one that has this shape, and it's kind of shiny and it should fit right on there. At this point, I'm going to replace my fasteners and just let them stop. I don't want to ruin that gasket in any way by crimping them down, so as soon as I stop, we're done. Now I'm going to go over to the air cleaner. I'm going to start by removing the first wing nut, taking off the air cleaner cover. You should have a second wing nut that holds on the air cleaner itself. If you don't have one, you need to find one. Now once I remove the air cleaner, there's going to be a couple of 10mm fasteners I have to remove. And this one should be gold. If yours is silver, you need a gold one. So again, I'm going to grab my 10mm. And remove that. And I'm going to break these ones loose right here. Going to remove those by hand. Now these should be 10mm nuts, and they should have a pan head on them, kind of like a washer right here, a little raised portion. If they're not a pan head, you need to find pan heads. Okay. Once I've removed those two, I got to remove the breather hose, and that can come off just by hand. And then also make sure the choke lever is in the forward position. If it's to the side, it's not going to come off. It's got to be in the forward position. They should slide off. Once you get this off, set this aside, put your gold 10mm bolt back in here like this. Then I'm just going to simply take my air cleaner, put it back on, replace the wing nut, take the air cleaner cover, put it on, replace the wing nut. And I'm going to do this so that I don't lose my parts or get them confused with somebody else's. As you can see, the air cleaner, actually the air flows down through here inside of the air cleaner and then comes into the carburetor. So this is actually where the air travels through after it goes through the filter. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this black spring. A pair of needle nose pliers. I'm just going to let it sit there. And then we have two 10mm bolts that we need to remove. Now they should just come off. If you don't have one of these, you need to get one. Again, there's a whole bunch of them in the parts bin. Now this is where most people get hung up during this whole process. It's the springs, and as you can see, this one's actually not connected. Should be right there. And basically, as the engine speeds up, the governor arm will move this way, and then as the engine slows down, the governor arm will control the air and fuel mixture to the engine to keep it running at a constant speed. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some pliers, and I'm going to pull this spring up from the top and then from the bottom in the back. Now once that's done, you need to make sure that your fuel line, it should still be attached to your carburetor. If it's not, it should be attached to your fuel tank. Now I'm going to move that out of the way. Now the carburetor can slide a little bit, and if you can see, there's a little slot at the top of this plastic piece here. As this pivots, that arm goes underneath the plastic. We need to pull this carburetor out slightly until that lines up with that rod. And once that lines up, we can just gently pull the rod up and keep a hold of your spring, and they should tilt straight up and pull straight out. Now once you have this, set it aside, grab your the governing arm and overextend it this way, and this black spring will come right out. Now take all three of these, put a little bit of masking tape around them, and set them in your box so you don't lose them. Once that's done, the carburetor just slides right off, and it should look like this. You should also have a couple of gaskets. You got a metal gasket here, this plastic housing that holds the spark plug wire. We don't want to lose that, so I can replace my two 10mm pan head nuts right there. Then I can also take my two 10mm fasteners that I took off earlier. The long one goes near the carburetor side. Short one goes next to the fuel tank. Once you've completed this step, put all your pieces in your box, and then we can move on to the cylinder head.